All right. Hi everyone, thank you for joining in. I'm Parth Doshi. I work as a senior consultant at Wonderbots and also UiPath MVP and Mumbai chapter lead. Today we are back again with one of the, I would say, the trending topics or the hot topics, whatever we want to say. But as you know, a couple of days back, UiPath announced the general availability of their agentic platform, that is UiPath Agent, and Mestro. It was already in GA a couple of days back. So today in this session, we are going to show the fundamentals of it, how you can access UiPath Agent Builder, how you can access UiPath Maestro, what is that you need to know about it, what are the fundamentals that you should learn, and how you can build your first agent. So this session, it is a 2 hour session, so we will need a bit of more dedication from you because we normally do session for 1 hour only. But yeah, today we have the session for 2 hours. During this session, if you have any questions, anything that you want to ask, feel free to put it in the chat. We might not be able to unmute you during the session, but towards the end we can try to do that. So if you have any questions, anything that you want us to repeat, please feel free to put it in the chat. And for today's presentation, I have three speakers: Siddesh, Sneha, and Kunal. So without wasting any time and delaying the session, I'll hand over the session to you, Siddesh.
Thank you, Parth. Thanks everyone for joining this session. Hope my screen is visible to everyone.
Yup, it
Yep.
is.
Okay. So myself, I am Siddesh. I lead the UiPath Tower within Capgemini Society, and with me, I have my two team members, Neha and Kunal. So we will be discussing and demonstrating UiPath Agentic AI and as well as Mastro, how to build the agents and how to use the Mastro with the agents communication. So that we'll see. I'll give the quick intro, quick walkthrough of what we are going to see. We'll set the context about agentic AI, and then I'll hand over the session to Sneha and Kunal for the demonstration. So we'll see what is agentic AI, the difference between RPA and agentic AI, what is Mastro, and then we just go for the demo. So what is agentic AI? So we know that now agentic AI is a new form of artificial intelligence like LLM and the traditional AI where we train the machine learning. So this agentic AI we use to create the enterprise autonomous AI agents. Now, the major difference, major question every time comes, what is the difference between RPA and agentic AI? So I came up with, 4 pointers that can help, to differentiate between RPA and agentic AI. So the very first point is decision making. So as you know, RPA is more of, predefined rules, whereas agentic AI, it can make independent decision based on, the context that has been given and based on the experience memory. Now the second is complexity. RPA, we know traditional RPA is suited for the simple and the repetitive tasks, but whereas agentic AI can handle complex processes, it has the decision-making ability, so it can go with the multi-step processes as well. Now, when it comes to the scalability, traditional RPA is less flexible, whereas agentic AI is more flexible, again, because of the decision-making capability that the agentic AI is having. And the data type, RPA is more towards, handling the structured data. Agentic AI is for both structured and unstructured data. But we do not say that, at least it is my opinion that agentic AI is not replacing RPA, but agentic AI is going to work with RPA. So agents are going to take the decision and they will drive the RPA. So now we talked about agentic AI, and then it comes to the Mastro. So the earlier initial name that was given to it as agentic orchestration only, but then it was changed to Mastro. So Mastro basically, it will hold everything in one canvas. It will have the agents communicating, agents to agent communication it can handle. It will have communication between agent and robots, between robots and robots, and so human in loop, that kind of provision is also there where agent master can handle the human in loop scenarios as well. And then we can the master with this agentic AI, we have this AI trust layer which withholds, your LLM communication, that gives you the governance and security. What communication will happen with your LLM? So that is where, AI trust layer also comes into the picture when you talked about agentic AI, agentic orchestration. To quickly go over the benefits of having the agent, as I said, decision making is the more criteria, that agent is having that power now to make the decision. So the improved decision making, scalability, flexibility, and continuous improvement through the learning. Whereas with Mestro, it gives you the entire canvas to observe, how the execution is happening So you get the understanding of your complex processes, long running workflows, you understand it, and it gives you deeper understanding on what data is getting processed and where it is now. So that is the benefit that we see from the agent and Mestro, and you will see it, when once we go for the demo, how the Mastro works, how the agents are taking the decision, how we can make the agent, capable of taking the decision, and how they can escalate, or they can run the bot based on the decision making. The prerequisite is very simple. You need to have the access to the studio web, access to the UiPath orchestrator, and the integration service is required. If you are making any API communication, then that will happen to the integration service. Automation developer license is required, and then access to the AI trust layer. So AI trust layer will come into the picture for your context grounding LLM that is there. So AI trust layer is access to the AI trust layer is required, or the admin can handle this basically. Whatever the context grounding that you have to set it, it will go to the AI trust layer. So now I'll quickly hand over this to Sneha for the demonstration of agent. Sneha, over to you.
Yeah. Thanks, Siddesh. Okay. So I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Yes, Sneha.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So we will start with the basic, like from where we can go to agent builder. So if you'll click on this, if you'll log into your orchestrator, and if you'll go to this, then you have this option which is called agents. So if you click on this will be the page that will open. So if you have any legacy agent, like if you have created that before it was like available for GA, so you can see that here. And if you have to create a new agent, then you have to go to this option which calls build your agent now. You have to click on this one. So we will first go through what is the interface, what are the options that we have on the agent builder screen, and then I'll start with one of the examples like how we can create it. So once you will open this, click on this option, build your agent. What should your agent do? You just have to provide some basic description of your agent. Like if in case this is our test agent, I can just write that this is our test agent or something like that. You can add, and you can then click on generate agent. Then if you have to give the name to your agent, like what this agent is, or like a short detail to it, you can just click on this one and rename it. First we'll start from this. You can rename this, and then you can rename this as well based on your use case. Then the first section that you see here is the system prompt. So system prompt is where we are going to explain or give the guideline to the agent, like what the agent is supposed to do. So if you'll say this will be the base of the agent, everything that you want, your agent to understand, each and every small guideline, big guideline, you have to mention in the system prompt. The role, the behavior of the agent, a few examples also, which will help the agent to understand. So you have to mention everything in the system prompt. Then user prompt is basically what will be the input from the user side to the agent. So the input on which the agent will work and then generate the output. So that will be the user prompt. So this is about the prompts. Now, like I will also talk about the prompts in detail when I'll show you the example. I'm just briefing you about the basic of it. Then in the tools, we can connect multiple other sources to our agent. So if I click on this, you will see like the first option that we have is the automations. It is basically the RPA automations or the RPA processes that you have created and you have access to, or it is there in the tenant that will be shown in this option. If you click on automations, then agent is like you can connect one agent to another agent. So if you have published any agent, you will have that here in the list. Then in the activities, you have all these options available. You can connect your agent to Jira, to Microsoft Teams, ServiceNow based on your requirement. So these are the available options that we have. So tool section basically help us to connect our agent to external sources or the processes through which if we have to perform some operations or some actions where we need help from these sources, then we can connect it using the tools. Then context is basically what is like an extension to the guideline or something which your agent needs, or a reference like thing to, understand what the agent is supposed to do or how the agent is supposed to do their task. So for that, if you need to go give some, ground rules, some policies, some references, you can add that in this section, which is called add context. Then the last part is escalations. If in case like agent is basically working on its capabilities, its understanding, its AI capabilities, but if you think that there is something on which we need human intervention or human in the loop, so this section escalation will come into the picture there. So this is basically a very basic layout of the agents. There is one more thing. If you have like just some input arguments or output arguments to be added to the agent, you can click on this option, which is called the data manager. You can go to the data manager and then you can provide your input and output to the agent. Okay. So this is really how the agent screen look, what are the parameters that we have on the screen. If there is no any question on this one, or I can then move on with a very basic agent creation. And then I have two use cases basically which I wanted to show in this session. So I'll start with that. Meanwhile, if there is any question from anyone.
So there's one quick question from Akash. We can generate prompt using autopilot as well, right? I
Autopilot, yeah,
I
autopilot. We are not,
yes.
we are not covering in this session part. We have another session scheduled for autopilot.
Right. But Akash, you can do that. You can create your agent's system prompt using or user prompt if you want to using autopilot. And there's another question from Michelle Gill. Is Maestro functioning like autopilot?
No, no.
It is, yeah, Siddesh, you can take it. Yeah.
No, Mestro is not functioning like an autopilot. So Mestro is basically orchestrating your entire execution of a long-running processes where you can have your agent, you can have your robot, you can have human in loop kind of connection. So we'll see that in the later part of this session how Mestro is working. And for Akash as well, for your question, right, for autopilot thing, it is a different thing. You can create your prompts for the autopilot that will help you, for the business users basically to perform their day-to-day tasks. Okay, as an admin user, I can set the prompts, and business users can use these prompts, to get their day-to-day work done. So they don't need to write separately anything. You can have your standardized prompts, and you can pass those commands, to the autopilot. So you can run your bot, or you can do the communication to analyze certain things, documents, and autopilot will revert back on those prompts provided. Okay.
All right. Yes, Sneha, we can go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. So this is the agent that we are going to talk about. It is a very like a very small agent that I have created for this demo purpose. What is the use of this agent is that it will take our input, like any input that we provide to this agent, and then input text and then output language. It is basically a language conversion kind of agent. It will detect the input language that you're providing, and then if in case like it is in English, the input language it is in English, and output we want in Spanish. So these two things we have to provide as an input to this agent. One is the text, input text, and other is the output language, in what language you want this input text to be converted on. So this is the purpose of this agent. So as I said, I've given the name to the agent first. When I've started it, I've given the name to the agent, language detection and analysis agent. The same name I've given here as well. Then in the definition, if I go, so first is the system prompt. So in the system prompt, I've just mentioned it that you are a language detection analysis agent. Your role is to detect the language, the input text language, and it can also retrieve the context from a URL. If I'm providing one URL, it can go to that URL and extract the content from it, and then it can also convert it. Then it will also check the overall sentiment, like what is the sentiment of the input text. If I'm writing like how dare you, so it will judge, like if like it is an angry tone or something, it will judge it from it. So tone, emotions, everything it is going to detect using the input language. And then this will be the output that it is giving. I have also mentioned that final output should include this detected language, the sentiment, extracted keywords, and everything I have mentioned in it. So this is a very basic system prompt that I provided to it. And then in the user prompt, I mentioned input text and output language. You can see there is something mentioned in green here. So you must be wondering that what is this green and why it is in curly brackets. So I'll then, for this, I'll go to the data manager. In the data manager, I've created two properties or two input arguments. So if I have to create on any input argument, I have to click on this add property. Then I have to go to this edit name. I can give any name, just suppose the test 123. I then have to click on this to apply. So it will create my input argument here. So in the similar manner, like I've created two, one is the input text and one is the output language. And if I have to refer any of the input parameters or the output parameters created using like in the agent, if I have to refer it, I have to refer it using this double curly brackets. So here the user prompt input text is this, output language is this. And in the output, I have, in the similar manner, in the output, I have mentioned these parameters which I want, as my output detected language, the sentiment analysis result, the extracted keywords, topics, the summary in the user selected language, and the translation of the original text in the user selected language. So these are the outputs that I need. If you don't like, if you go to the output section, and if I'll show you from here as well, that in the output there is one field, one property which is called content. It is default there. So if we'll not create anything also, so everything will be displayed in this content output parameter. But if in case you want something, explicitly, or you want something to be used later in your process, you can then add the output properties explicitly as well, like the way I've added here. In this case, I haven't created any, like I haven't added any tool, any context, any escalation. I haven't done it. So this is, as I said, a very basic generic agent that I've created. I'll first run it and then I'll also show you. There are some other things which we have to show in reference to it. But first I will run it to show you how it is running. So if you have to test this agent, if everything is working fine or not, if you have to change test it. So there is two parameter to do that. This is what test step by step. It is basically the debug kind of thing, the option that you have. And one is test on cloud. So if you'll click on this one, so it will give you a prompt to provide your input. So in this case, there are two inputs, as I said, text. So I've just mentioned this and I want the output in the language English. So I will just run it. So once you will run, it will start showing the output in this section. So first, like the basic logs, and then it will show the execution trace. So it's still running. Yeah, see, this is the output that we have got. Detected language is French. The sentimental analysis result is neutral. The extracted keywords is like what I've provided. It has extracted the keyword out of it. And summary in the user selected language. So user selected language in this case was English. So the summaries in English is this. The text is casual inquiry asking how are you? And the translation of the original text is how are you? So that is what the output that we have got from the agent.
Sneha, just sorry to interrupt you. So someone is asking, Milin Pawar is asking, to post your system prompt in the chat window.
Okay.
So can you do that?
Yeah, I'll
And
do that.
there is one question from Usama Mirkar regarding the output section. So sentiment analysis result, is this ML model or a XAML file? So Usama, we have not used any XAML. It is the agent builder layout that has been provided. So it is internally doing it. I hope that
And
answers your question.
yeah, Siddesh and Sneha, just one more thing I would like to add with that, right?
Yeah.
Whatever this system prompt or user prompts, these are there, right? So, guys, we will share it, but at the end of the session. So, when the session is over, we'll try to provide a GitHub or a Drive link where you can download these things from. So, in the session, we don't have to share that in between. And
Yep.
we also have a question from Ashutosh. Are LLM models configurable? If yes, how to do that? Which LLM model is currently being used?
That's
So,
good.
Ashutosh, there is a upcoming feature where you can import your own custom LLM models. Right now, by default, I think in properties, we can say it is, I think, GPT 4 point something that we are using. But in future, you will be able to do that, bringing your
Yeah.
own agent.
So Ashutosh, there
Uh,
are four or
yeah.
five models which UiPath has provided. So you can use that. Sneha, can you show those models? The drop down that where they see the models. So by default, these models are there. You can select which model suits your requirement, that is giving the accurate answers to you, and you can go ahead with that model. But again, UiPath says that you can bring your own model as well, and that is where AI trust layer comes into the picture to have your LLMs through the AI trust layer for the security and the governance purpose. So if you see that we are showing you the pre-existing models that UiPath is providing. So agents are working on with the help of these models.
Right. And a question from Akash: can we build agent in Studio Desktop? Do we have that option? We don't have it.
No, Akash. So your question, agent can be built through agent builder only. Now you can call that agent through Studio Desktop. Okay, there
Correct.
is a run agent activity that will help you to call that agent. So your RPA workflow can also invoke agent. Okay, so that is
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah, I'll also show that like how we can call that from your RP workflow. Yeah.
All right. And is
More
that purpose
questions
for?
or should I?
We can go ahead. We can go ahead.
So like this is one of the examples where we don't had like any tools, any context, any escalations in this one. Now I'm going to move this like through this, but we have understood like there's what's the basic and what information where we should be providing it. So now I'll move to our main use case that we are going to cover in the session, and then the Mestro workflow also we have created on that use case. So yeah. I think I had that open. Okay. So this is basically a ServiceNow agent that we have created. So what this agent will do is that suppose that this agent will be working for a ServiceNow support team. So the ServiceNow support team, they receive their request or the queries or the issues on their emails. So consider that they have built this agent. The agent will be then analyzing the email that the ServiceNow team is receiving. The agent will analyze that email, use the natural language processing on it. It will then extract the keywords, try to understand the issue, categorize the issue. Then it will check like what is the expertise that will be needing, like that will be required in order to work on this issue. Then it will check who is the person in the team who has this expertise, and it will then choose that person, create a ServiceNow ticket, assign the issue to that person, and then this flow will stop. And if in case we have issues related to virus, phishing and all, then it will create an escalation where the human will come into the loop, and then the human will take the decision whether the ServiceNow ticket will be created or not. So this is basically a background or a basic of this agent. So I'll start with the definition. The name is ServiceNow agent. The definition, if you see in the system prompt, so in this case, we have provided a very detailed guideline. So I'll come to that as well, that why we haven't, in this case, have you seen, like we have provided a very basic, very generic guideline. In this case, why we have the detail, I'll explain that later. But yeah, here we have explained the role, what this agent is supposed to do. Goal is basically what is the output that we are expecting out of this agent. Then instruction, the detailed step-by-step instructions. It is what basically I've just mentioned, that it will interpret the issue description, it will categorize it, it will assign it to the right resource, it will create a ServiceNow ticket, and if it is like if in case the issue is related to phishing or virus or spam, it will then create a escalation. Okay. And then we have provided the chain of thought. Chain of thought is nothing, basically it is like help the agent to understand or give a logical guideline to it, like what the agent is supposed to do, how it is supposed to do. So it will provide it a logical sequence to it. So that is what we have mentioned in the chain of thought. And then one example. So I'll come to why I have chosen this format for my agent system prompt. So if you'll see this screen, there is one option which is called open health score, and you can also do it from here on the top. So if you'll open it, and if we'll go to the prompt, so I'll open for this one as well. So if you'll see in the prompt, my score is only 48%. So what the prompt needs, and if you want a proper result, your prompt score should be 100%, because prompt is what the guideline using which the agent is working. Okay. So in this case, we had the clarity, the completeness, where the detailing of the instruction, that was sort of okay but not excellent. The chain of thought, where it was providing a reasoning process to the agent that was missing. The demos or the examples in this one was missing. But in this case, if you'll see, we have provided everything: the role, the goal, the instructions, the chain of thought, example, everything is there. And that's why the prompt score, the health score is 100%. So in this agent score, the prompt takes 30% of the weightage, or like out of 100, 30% goes to prompt. Then if you'll see tools, we have 20%. In this case, we have the tool mentioned, the ServiceNow tool. So that's why the score is 88%. Input schema, like the input parameter, have we provided it clearly? We have configured the input. We have provided the description, everything. Based on that, the score will be given to input schema, and it contributes 10% of the total health score. And evaluation is basically the escalations that we are creating. So in this case, it is 52%. The major part of the score comes from the evaluation only. It contributes to the 40% of the total health score. So if you want to, analyze it further, if you want to see, how we can improve it, there is one more option. You can get it from the bottom, that where it will see, how you will analyze it, how you can improve it. I'll just show it. Before that, I'll just go to this one, and I'll also show you that if in case I have written it in some other way, I have that here with me. So I've just copy pasted. So if I've written this in some other way, my health score would have been improved in this case. So you'll see, I've added the chain of thoughts, I've added the demos and everything in this case. So I'll go to this now, and then I will do recalculate. See, now because it has got everything, it has improved it to 100%. The health score is now 100% for this prompt also. So that is one of the thing, and you can keep a check on it. If not 100%, we should try to have it more than 90%, so that our output would be accurate. Okay, so this is about the system prompt and the health score. So in this case, the user prompt that we have is the email body, and we have also mentioned it in in the system prompt, that it will analyze the email body, it will identify and categorize it, and then return the appropriate ServiceNow ticket. So this is, like we have mentioned, that you are a UiPath automation agent, and you will receive the body of an incoming support email as an input. So that is also, we have explained it to the agent. And as you can also tell it, like this is the input parameter that we have created. See, email body. In this case, the output parameter will be incident number, short description of the issue, detailed description of the issue, the expertise, or basically the categorization of the issue, and the user name, the user who will be working on this ServiceNow ticket. So till now, we have covered the prompt part for the ServiceNow agent. Any question, any query on this one before I start with the tools? Okay. So in the tools, in this case, what I have done is that I have created a RPA process. This RPA process will take the input from the agent. So agent will read the email, it will do the basic thing, everything that is required on it, like figuring out the issue, the short description, detailed description, categorizing it, taking out the name of the person who will be working on it. Everything the agent will do, and it will provide it as an input to the RPA bot, which is the ServiceNow bot. And using this information, the ServiceNow bot will create the ServiceNow ticket, and it will return the ticket number. So this is what it's supposed to be done in this RPA bot. So I've done it in the similar manner. I've gone here, I've gone to automation, I've selected this process. Okay. And in the property, you'll see these are the two input parameters. So short description and detailed description, I've given it to it. Now talking about the context. So in this case, as I mentioned, the context is basically the reference or the guidelines to the reference or a policies or something which we want our agent to, refer to before concluding anything or before, doing his task. This will be basically a rule, you can say. So in this case, what we have as in context is that history of the resolved ticket. It is basically an Excel file where we have mentioned all the tickets that has been resolved so far. And one is the Excel, which has the detail of the user availability, like which is the available user, what are their expertise, what is their current availability, how many tickets they are working on. So this is the basic data that we have added in the context, and we have referred the context here. So how we have done it, before explaining it, I will tell you how you can add the context. So for adding the context, first you have to go to your orchestrator. So in the orchestrator, you first have to go to the storage bucket. In the storage bucket, you can create one storage bucket and you can upload your documents. So in this case, I have uploaded two Excel, as you can see, history of resolved ticket and user availability workload. So once my storage bucket is ready, I can then go to this indexes. In the indexes, I have this option to add index. I will click on this one. I will then select, like, give the name to that index. I will select storage bucket. It will give me an option to select the orchestrator folder from where, I can get the storage bucket. I'll select the folder. And then in the storage bucket, it will give me I have two storage buckets. So it has provided me that option. The file type, in this case, I had XLS. So I've chosen XLS. And then because I'm missing the index name, so that's why it's not giving me the option to create it. But I will show you the already created indexes. So I had to create two indexes. One is ServiceNow tickets. So as the name said, like, it is a history of the resolved ticket. So I'll just open it. So see, I provided the index name, the description, and I've selected everything here, the basic. Okay. And in the similar manner, I have created for user availability. I haven't selected the document name here anywhere. The document name will be auto selected by the agent. It will auto understand that this index belongs to which document. As I've shown you in my storage bucket, there were two documents, but I'm not providing the name here. So the agent will auto select it based on, like, the description and everything that we have, description and name that we have provided to the agent. Okay. So once I create the indexes there, then I can come here. I can click on this add context. So in the add context, it will show me the ECS indexes that we have created. I can then select the required index. So in this case, as you can see, I have selected this index of history of resolved ticket. I've given the name of history of resolved ticket. And then I've selected, like, there are two properties that you have in this case. One is semantic and one is structured. So structured is basically if your index is or the document that you have in your index is properly structured, like in this way we had the Excel file, so it is properly structured, and navigation of it is also very easy. There is nothing complex or unstructured data is not there, then you can select it. But if your data is little unstructured and you need your agent to do some natural language processing on it to understand it, to understand where is the required information, so in that case, you can go with semantic. But in this case, we had the proper structured data. So that's why we have selected structured. In the user availability also, we have selected structured. So yeah, we have created these two contexts using the ECX index. And I've shown you where you can create that ECX index. So any questions till now?
I think Siddesh answered major of them in the chat. Siddesh, do you think any question we should take on the call, or is it good?
It is good. I think I have answered everything, but
Okay.
there is one from Varun Nathan. If he needs additional details, we can discuss. I
Okay.
actually did not get this question.
Right.
Uh,
Can I incorporate my existing RPA workflows into conversational agent? So Varun, as you see, right, Sneha is showing how we can add tools and how we can utilize them. So what you can do, if you have any automation where you need to, create a specific task or automate a specific task, like create ticket in ServiceNow. For that, if you already have an existing RPA workflow, you can use it over there. So in that way, you can use your existing RPA workflows in tools section to get that additional things done by the agent. So I hope that answers your question. Okay,
Yeah.
if I'm attaching there's a question. There are two questions actually.
Okay.
One is from Osama. For tools, how do we provide access to the agent to the tool? So you don't have to specifically provide. If you select the tool, you will have to connect your integration service connection. And if you use a RPA process, you can directly do it. So that is with respect to the tools connection. Ashish, for your question, if I'm attaching a process, how can I pass arguments to the process?
Yeah.
I see the variables. Yeah, Sneha, maybe
Yeah.
if you want to
Yeah.
take that.
Yeah, so Ashish, in this case, as you can see, this is basically a RPA process that we have created. So once you will select that RPA process, no, in the properties, you will get the name of the input arguments. So in the input arguments, you can then pass the value. I'll just cancel it and I will show you how we have passed the values. So if you click on this one, it will call edit. So in the edit, you have this option to, like I will just pass the value of short description. Like in case I have to pass the short description, sorry, yeah, this is basically the description, a detail of it. The value will be auto passed from the agents now. You don't have to select the values here. Sorry,
Correct.
I forgot that. The value will be auto pass. So the agent will understand what will be the short description, the detailed description, and it will pass it to the tool. So you don't have to mention it anywhere explicitly that, okay, this value should be passed to this one. So you just have to select your process from the tools. I have selected service now. So once you will select it, you can see the parameters in the property panel. Okay.
Yeah, with that, Sneha, just one more thing. Under tools option, we can add other tools which we want to integrate with agent. Yes, we can. You can add as many tools as you want. You can add as many context as you want, but there can be only one escalation, I believe, right? Sneha?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that also makes sense. If you have multiple escalations, it will confuse the agent where to escalate the issue exactly. So the tools and context can be multiple, escalation can be one,
Yes.
and we can go ahead with that.
So you have multiple RPA workflows that can be used as tools. Also, third-party tools that UiPath has provided, like Teams, Snow, Jira. You can consider configuring it through integration services.
Okay. So we have covered till context, and I'll also show you like how.
Sneha, sorry to interrupt again. No, there's one question, no, from Veera. So they want to see the context data. So can you show the context data that we are using in this example, historical result tickets and the user?
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
I'll just download it and open it. Yeah. So this is the history of the result ticket. So it has like the information like this, the ticket ID description. So this is the dummy data that we have created for the demo. Okay, so this is one. If I talk about the second, which is the user availability one. Yeah, so this is the user availability data, the username, the current percentage availability of the user, how many tickets are currently assigned to that user, the expertise, and the preferred shift. Okay, so now moving on. So if we'll see, we have covered till the context. So now the escalation, as I mentioned, the guidelines also, the last step, if you'll see that if in case the email body contains phishing or virus or spam, it will create an escalation. So in this, we have created a UiPath app, the very basic app that we have created. So this escalation will open that app, and it will then create a task in the ServiceNow. Sorry, it will create a task in the UiPath orchestrator of the person, the action center. It will create a task there. In this case, I have mentioned the recipient name as mine, so it will create a task in my action center where I can go and I can check the short description, the detailed description, and then based on my confirmation, the agent will create the ticket. If I don't confirm it, if I'll cancel it, agent will not create the ServiceNow ticket. But if I'm confirming it, it will create the ticket. So this is basically for the escalation. So how the agent will know that, okay, it has to refer to this context of history for the historical data or the user availability, or it has to call the ServiceNow tool. So that also you have to mention it in the prompt. So if you'll see in this case, for the categorization, I have explicitly mentioned that you can refer to the context which contain the previously resolved ticket. Okay. And in the resource allocation also, I've mentioned it that you can use the context for getting current user availability, expertise, and the workload details. And once like that is done, we have mentioned that you will create a ServiceNow incident using the ServiceNow bot. So that's everything. As I mentioned, you have to mention in the guideline or the system prompt. so that agent will not confuse what it is supposed to do. Okay. So this is basically the layout of the ServiceNow agent. And yes, one more thing, the model, we can also change it from here as we were showing at that time. That was a previous screen or the view of the agent. Now this is the updated view. In this, if we'll go to the properties, you have this option of changing the model. Okay, I will now go on and run this one. I'll just quickly, I have to do one setting change, so I'll stop sharing for 1 minute and then continue. Okay. I will now test it on cloud. So in this case, I have just like, I will be providing a very basic email body in this test one. A laptop is not working, showing blue screen on startup. So I'll write this, please see this. Something like this I'll written. I'll just run the bot. So like if you click on this, it'll show you the apps, the context, the process, like process is basically in this case, the RPA process. I will run this. So if you'll see, it is first, like it has done the basic interpretation of the issue description. It is now referring to the history of resolved ticket to do the categorization. Now it is referring to the user availability context. And that's done. Now it is, running the ServiceNow automation or the ServiceNow RPA process. And if you'll go to your orchestrator also, you can see it in the background that it is running the RPA ServiceNow RPA process. I'll just refresh. Okay, sorry. I had to click on this one. That's why it was not running. My screen was not loaded. Yeah. The machine is available now. It must be running it like it's pending. Yeah, it has started running. So you can see that from your orchestrator as well, that it is running the process in the background. And once that ServiceNow ticket creation is done, yeah, it is done now. You can then see the output. Incident number, the short description, laptop showing blue screen on startup, the detailed description, Emma's laptop is not working and is showing a blue screen on startup. Assistance is needed to resolve this issue. It has categorized it as hardware support. And in this case, like the bot is not able to find any person with this expertise, that is why it is assigned it to the general support. That is also we have mentioned in the guideline. I'll show you. If no user with the matching expertise is available, allocate the ticket to any available user who has a general support expertise. So that's why the bot has done, sorry, the agent has done the same. So if in case I mention, I'll show you one more example. If in case I mention VPN not working, so how it will respond to this. See, it has categorized it as VPN not working. Emma reported that VPN is not working and requires assistance. So, yeah, this is basically the output, how we are getting the output and how it is interpreting it. So now the next step, once our agent is ready, the next step in this case is to publish it, and because it is like building a process on your studio, the next step is obviously publishing it and accessing it from your orchestrator. So we can publish it from here, and it will give you the option to select the tenant or which tenant you want to publish this one. So in this case we have published it to this orchestrator tenant, and it will go like in the folder packages. You can see that agent. So this is our agent, ServiceNow agent. So it will be available here, and you can go to your processes and you can create a stand, like the way you create RPA process. You can create a process, add process, and you can select that agent from here, drop down. See, details agent. So you can select it. We have already created it, and so that's why the process is already there. So I can run it from here, like the way we have run it from here. We can run it, and in this case we can provide the input here, like same input. I'll copy paste from this quickly. Yeah, I'm not sure if I have the updated version published or not, but yeah, let's see. Yeah. So it will run it. There is nothing from the logs perspective that you can see here, but yeah, it will, once it start the ServiceNow bot, you can see it from here. And there is one more way of doing it through run agent activity of your, like taking it in the studio and running it through run agent activity. I'll show it after this one. See, it has completed the ServiceNow bot. Now it has completed the process. If you want to see the output, you can just click on this information icon, and you can see like this is the output that it has generated. It has categorized it in the VPN network uh, a category like area, and then it has assigned it to the Hannah White. I'll also open this one. You'll see VPN network, and the username is Hannah White, so it will assign it to Hannah White accordingly. So yeah.
Uh, Hey Sneha, while you are showing the deployment part, right?
Yeah.
We have two questions actually from Khushbu Bansal. So one is there any other way besides storage bucket to provide context? So Khushbu, the other way is through integration services. So in context grounding. Sneha, can you show that in indexes part?
Yeah.
Uh, if we can, yeah. So when you click on add index, Khushbu, if you see over here, there are two options, storage buckets and connector. So you can have integration service connector created where you think a knowledge base would be there. So that is another option. And can you show example of escalation or just the app that you have created
Yeah,
with him?
I'll show. Yeah, I'll come to it.
Okay, okay. So yeah, we can show that. Yeah. Can we access local folder from agent builder? I don't think we can. For that, you will have to use RPA process.
So local folder
So
as in system local folder, then no, it is about orchestrator folders. Yes, you can access
yeah,
the orchestrator folder if you have the accesses.
right. But not definitely not the local folder. For that, you will need RPA processes. Do we
But
need to have admin rights to create context grounding? I
yes,
No, I think Siddesh, like based on the change setup that we have,
yes,
yeah, on that we don't. Yes.
yeah. From the change, like now they have
Yeah.
in the orchestrator. Before this, it
Yes.
was in AI trust layer, so
ah,
you need
okay.
to
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
The
admin rights. But yeah, now you
new
can do it
design, yeah,
without
in the
admin
new
rights.
design you can create it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'll then show you the escalation part. So as we have mentioned in our guideline that if there is anything related to phishing or virus, it will create an escalation. So I'll mention something like that in my email body. Okay. Laptop not working, some virus issue, like this. I'll mention. I'll run it. See, it has created like if we talk about the standard process, it should have gone to the ServiceNow ticketing process and created the ticket. But in this case, it has created the escalation. So if I'll click on this action required, yeah, this is the task. So it has created a task for me in the action center. So if I'll click on this link, it will open the task for me. So this is the task. Created a very basic app like that just show the short description, the detailed description. So you can customize it based on your need. You can put it in any way you want. So in this case, like if I think that okay, everything is correct, description is correct, everything is correct, I will just click on submit. And once I'll click on submit, I'll come here and I can see that it will accept it and it will now create the ServiceNow ticket and give me the output. Yeah. So agent output, I can see that, okay, detailed description, short description, the expertise, and the username. Okay. So any questions on that?
Not on that, but we have one question from Keyur Mehta. Can we run multiple agents simultaneously on the same bot server for the same RPA process? Um, I, I did not get it completely, Keyur, your question. Do you want to ask that can we run agent within agent, or can we use same RPA process in multiple agents? So
So if you're talking about running the agents, multiple agents on the same bot machine at same time, then that is not possible. It is like our same RPA process, right? You can have one process running. I hope that answers your question.
yes, and I think that particular question, Keyur, that will get more clear when we reach to the agent orchestration part, that is the Maestro. So there, I think Siddesh, it will be more clear of how we can use it simultaneously.
Yeah.
Can we run agents through UiPath Assistant after publishing through Orchestrator? You can do that, but for that you will have to use the autopilot feature, and then you will have to enable it. I think we are doing a session on autopilot, right, Siddesh?
Yes.
Yes. So we will have that session, Milind, where you will get to know about that. It is
So,
happening in
yeah.
first
So
week of
just
June.
to add here, Milind, if you are thinking about running agent directly through the autopilot, right, that won't happen. But you can run a RPA bot and that is containing agent inside it. Yeah, definitely, that is possible.
Okay. And with that, one more question from Khushbu Bansal. The part where the task is accepted from Action Center, how the flow goes from there back to the agent to create the service ticket. So Khushbu, like the normal suspended process, right, of Action Center, what happens here when the escalation gets created, the agent execution is suspended in that time. When the action is completed over there, the agent is resumed, and in the system prompt, if you have specified that after that this particular tool should be called, then that particular tool gets called. Anything that you want to add, Siddesh, on that lines?
No, it's correct.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay, we can go ahead.
Yeah. So now the next part of it is, as we were discussing it, how we can call an agent through UiPath Studio. So for this, you need to go to your manage packages. You need to have this package installed in your solution, which is uipath.agentic.activities. So once you have that, you can see that you have one activity available, which is called run agent. So in the run agent, if you click on the drop down, it will show you all the agents that is available in on your tenant. You can select the required agent. It will then auto populate the input parameters or the input property for that agent, and then the agent output. So you can then pass on the values accordingly. And if you have to access the agent output, then you have to do it like this way. The agent output parameter, sorry, the variable that you have created, dot, it will put dot, then it will give you the list of all the, like, just suppose if I'll do it, I'll just drag one log message here and I'll show you. the agent output dot. If I'll do dot, it will give me the list of all the output properties that I have available for this agent. Like in this case, I had expertise, the detailed description, short description, the incident number. In this case, I had the space in between. That's why it is like giving it like this. But yeah, the username, all these are the output properties of this particular agent. So it is giving me the options. So I can then use it as per my needs. So in this case, I've just created some output parameters and I've just assigned the values to it. And yeah, this is how I've used it for this demo purpose. And this is basically the activity that you need to use if you have to run your agent using the RPA bot. So I will just run it. So in this case, in the input parameter, I've just provided my laptop is not working. So if it will run the agent, if I like I've triggered it from here, if I go to my orchestrator, so I can see my agent running and it will show like this, the studio web debugging, and it has now triggered the ServiceNow bot also. So once that's done, I'll get my output here. Yeah. So like it has created, like it has run the agent. If I'll go here, I'll click on this, like I can see. Okay. So this is how we can run the agent from RPA bot. Now I have one more part of it to cover, and after that we can go to the Mastro. It's about the evaluation. So if like similar to what like how we can do the testing, we can also, there is one more way of doing it through the evaluators. So this will help you to see how much accurate your agent is or how much accurate the output of the agent is. So there is one, if you click on this one, you will have a default evaluator available. Okay, so this will be there in the default evaluator. But if you have to create your evaluator based on your need, like I have created one which is called match evaluator, you can click on this one. I'll create new. So I've clicked on that and then I've given the name to this as match evaluator. Then in the type, you have these options like JSON similarity or exact match. I've selected exact match. In the category also, you can select LLM as a judge or deterministic. So I've just chosen it like to see how my output is or how are the results that I'm getting if I'm selecting either of these. Then in the description, like it's mentioned that it will check the exact string matches between the expected and the actual output. And in the target output field, I haven't selected everything. I've just selected expertise, which is the category. Okay. So once you have created your evaluator, you can then go to evaluation sets and you can create your evaluation set, create new. Then you can do add to set. In this case, you can provide the name of this evaluation set, what will be the input and what is the output that you are expecting out of it. And you can click on save. Like I've created one already. I will show you. So if we go to this edit, so this is the name, by default name it has taken. Now the email body, it is the input that I have given for testing. This is the output, that expected output that I have given. Okay. So if I have to evaluate if my like model, if my agent is working as per expectation or not, so what I'll do is that I'll click on evaluate set and it will give me the percentage of like how it is, how it's matching or not. Now one more thing, I'll just delete it. I'll run again. So I'll set the evaluator also. For the evaluator, if you click on set evaluator, you have two options. One is the default one and one is what I have created. So in this case, I have the match evaluator. So based on this evaluator, it will evaluate my output. Okay, now we'll now do evaluate set. So it will also run the agent and it will show me the percentage of matching output.
And while that is running, Sneha, we just have one question from Ismail Sheikh. Can you please show us the ServiceNow bot? So, can you just show the RPA process that we are
No,
using?
but just a second. I was answering the question of that only, but I don't know some Suddenly I started seeing, my messages are getting blocked for the moderation policy.
Okay.
Yeah, but I can answer this. So Ismail, the ServiceNow bot, is just a dummy bot that we have developed. It is not actually interacting with ServiceNow. It is just giving a random number. We are just clearing the idea, how you can have your bot to do the further task. So you can develop your bot that can have the logic to interact with the ServiceNow through the, web application or API services, whichever suits you, right? So ServiceNow bot here is not doing anything. It is just a random number that it is giving as a service incident ID.
Okay. 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 All right, Siddesh. And the best would be to use integration service, and the activities are by default available over there. So now with the modern activities update, the things have got more simpler with ServiceNow and other enterprise applications. So maybe Ismail, if you can use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
We
particular
can.
session, yeah, this particular session, we are trying to, clear the concept. Then you decide your use case and where you can use this concept, to
Right.
achieve the target that you are looking for.
All right. Yes. We can go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. So as you can see that I've run my run my set and I've get the output. This is the expected output that the expertise should be laptop and performance, and the actual output is also same laptop and performance. So that's why my match evaluator output is 100%. So in the similar manner, you can change the expected output and then you can provide the input to see if your actual output is matching with your expected output or not, and if there is any difference, that how many percentage differences there, what you need to do to improve your agent based on that. So this is about the evaluation. So yeah, with this we have concluded the agent part, and now we are good to go to the master part. So anything, any specific question on this one before we move to the Mastro?
Can we please pass out of context email body random input and so how agent is evaluated? Ajay, maybe we can cover that at the end of the session if we have time, because just in the interest of time, we would like to move to uh, the Maestro part. And if you have any questions, if you are trying it and you need help with that, definitely you can reach out to anyone on LinkedIn and they will be happy to help you. And yeah, Sneha, that was an interesting session with the live demo. And yeah, over to you, Kunal. I think you will be covering the
Yeah.
agentic
Yeah.
orchestration part. So, yeah, over to you.
Thank you, Path. Thanks, Niyas. Thanks, Siddesh.
And sorry, Kunal, just
Yep,
a minute.
yep,
And
yep.
guys, the session is not over yet, right? So I just saw a couple of people left the session when Sneha said that, okay, this was the agent part. I'll just ping them if possible. But the session is still for 1 more hour. We are going to look into the UiPath Mestro, similarly the live demo. So if you have time, do stay in the session. Yeah, Kunal, just
Yeah,
saving your
sure.
audience.
I'll just share my screen. So team, is my screen visible?
Yep, yep,
Are
yep.
you able to see it?
It is.
Okay. So before I start with the Maestro, there is a very important thing that I need to talk about, and that is BPMN. So let's and what is BPMN? So before I proceed, let's consider a hypothetical scenario. Okay. So think that we are going on a journey, but we have the destination in mind, but we don't have any map. We don't have any clarity on where we are going, how we are going to reach our destination. So that's exactly how our RPA process starts behaving if we don't have a proper requirement document or a process design document, right? So that is where BPMN comes into picture. Now, what is the advantage of having a BPMN? It actually talks in both technical and non-technical term. Like by seeing a flow chart or a flow diagram, not only the business users can understand it, but also a developer who is going to develop it can also understand the same. So that is why this BPMN tool is so important. Okay, so let's see that. So I've just considered a user use case. Okay, so what this use case is doing. So as a business user, uh, what they want is they are creating a new environment and they want to test all the UI automations is running in that particular system or not. So they want to check the prerequisites for that system. If the system has been set up correctly, the orchestrator connectivity is working or not, the UiPath extension is installed or not, all the target applications are present there or not, Do we have the shared drive access or not? So all these particular things, the business wants to check that, and they are saying that if everything is ready, then the machine is good to set up, and we can run our UI automations there. But suppose there is some issue or there is some error that one of the prerequisites is not getting satisfied, then the agent is going to raise an escalation, and it's going to raise a ticket to the proper team. So the proper team will address that particular issue, fix that particular machine, and once it fixes the machine and sends a response back uh, through the by resolving the ticket, the agent should once again redo the pre-validation check and confirm that the machine has been set up correctly. Now now as you can see that it is a long process, right? Like, because we don't know when the person to whom the ticket has been read, he's going to go and resolve it, right? So only when he resolves it, the ticket will be solved, and again the pre-validation is going to work. So it's a very simple scenario. So as per my business requirement, I have just designed a flowchart. So you can see that the process is starting. The first thing is there is a VM checklist. So I just need to have some sort of a UiPath product which is going to go and check if all the prerequisites has been set up in this particular machine or not. Now, if this checklist is correct, then the process is going to end. If not, it is going to send the error message to the agent. Now, this particular agent is going to raise a ticket or an escalation to the particular team. The team is going to resolve it at their convenient time. And once they resolve it, the process has to kick in. So this is a basic flowchart. So as a developer, when I design this particular flowchart, I can show it to my business team. The business users can validate with their use case, and they can confirm that okay, this looks good. But what if they see that okay, this is not matching that? So instead of we spending time in doing the development and the automation, we can correct our flowchart. We can design the flowchart once again. We can do the correction within this particular canvas itself. So once we have done all the corrections, the business is satisfied, we are satisfied as developers. What we can do is now it is time for us to identify which UiPath product we are going to use in this particular flowchart, and at what point. So say your first thing is this VM checklist. So when we go and approach this particular VM checklist, so we understand that we can do it with the help of an RPA process or an RPA bot that we can design. So this particular place, we can have an RPA automation. Okay. So I'll just rename it. So we can do a RPA automation here. Okay. For this VM checklist particular thing. So once I run this process in this particular machine, if the job goes into a faulted state, then it can go, that faulted error message can go to the agent. Or while the job is running, and if there is some error which has been caught and sent as an output argument, even then that error can be sent to this agent. Now, here there is a decision making required because we don't know what error we are going to get in the runtime. It can be any kind of an error, and only if any support team is present there, that person can see this error and they can debug this particular issue, and then they can decide on that. But whereas now we don't need a person to actually be there at that point of time. So the agent, because it has decision making capabilities, it can read that particular error, it can do research on its own and figure out like what action it needs to take. So this particular portion where this decision making has to be made, we can use an agent. Okay. And then this will go back, and once the agent has raised the ticket, escalation is done, as Sneha showed it sometimes back, that an escalation ticket has been raised. So as and when this agent raises the escalation ticket, the ticket gets resolved, the agent gets a response back. So whenever a ticket is resolved, the agent gets a response back, and once it gets the response back, it is going to go and re-trigger this RPA automation or the RPA process, and then this checklist can be done. Now once I have decided this as a developer, this is the second step. I'll go back to my business user team and I can tell them that I need to design a UiPath process in this particular step. And I'm also going to say them that I need to design an agent for this particular thing. The business aligns with me. Now it is the final step where we actually start the development. So now we go ahead and we can finish this particular development, and also we can go ahead and design this this agent. So once everything is ready, once this particular thing is ready in the canvas. We know that everything is ready. Now it's time for us to switch back to the Maestro. So Sneha, can you please reshare your screen for the Maestro?
Sure. You
Yep.
need to stop sharing, Kunal, for a minute.
Yep. Yep.
Thanks. I'll now share it.
Yep.
Yeah, Kunal.
So yeah. So now, if while explaining this Maestro, I'm going to again go back to the ServiceNow ticket because we already have designed a agent there. Okay. So think the BPMN process has been designed. Everything is ready. Business is aligned to it. Now it is the time for actually putting the UiPath products. By products, I mean the RPA process and the A to this flowchart. Now here, if you see, what Sneha has done is in the first activity, which she has written as agentic demo notepad process, where it is going to read the email body. So that is nothing but an RPA process. So she has created an RPA process. It has been published to the orchestrator. She's selecting the same RPA process here, and it has been mapped to that flowchart. Now the next thing, once that email body is read, it needs to send that email body to that agent, and what we have displayed so long, that the email body, once that agent reads that email body, it identifies the next step what it needs to do. So there we have just gone to the same flowchart and plugged in our agent. So it's just a plug and play. Once your flowchart is ready, the same flowchart, now you can have it in the Maestro. The only thing that you need to do is plug and play your products in the correct places. So she has plugged the agent here. Now once that agent has been plugged, now if the incident gets created successful, then it will go to that part of the flowchart where it says that the incident has been created. And if there is any issue with the agent and the incident ticket could not be created, then it will go back to the error. So it goes back to the error. So this is what actually your Maestro is doing. So here you can design your entire process, not just one section of the automation. Previously we were just automating the repetitive task. But now with the agent, where a human was going and doing the debugging or making the decision, we can have an agent. The human can supervise, and that if everything has gone right or wrong. But now certain part of this process can be done by the agent. Now the whole process, and say for example, all of us can relate to it. Like if someone has been working on the support, say there is an issue with the machine, and so obviously it has happened beyond the working hours. So the person or the developer is going to come only the next day, and the ticket has been, so someone has to overlook the ticket. So the person who has resolved the ticket, he cannot go back and run the agent back, or he or she cannot run back this process from the orchestrator again, because they don't have access to the orchestrator, right? But now, because they resolve the ticket, the agent gets the response of the ticket. Now he understands that okay, my process has been resolved. Now what I can do is I can go and re-trigger all the things which needs to be done, or I can re-trigger my UiPath processes. So the person who is coming back next morning, he can come and see the final result. Even if an error has happened, it can recover from it and again do the rest of the steps. So the next day when that person comes in, he or she can easily see that okay, this has happened, this has been resolved by the agent, and now everything is fine. So that is what your Maestro can do. Now once you have plugged and play all the components, the same thing that you need to do, once everything is ready, you need to publish it. So Sneha, can you just click on that publish button? Yep. So here you just need to put your description and your version and select the tenant feed and just publish your Maestro process. So once you publish it, just like the same way the agent was getting viewed in the folder package, you'll see this Maestro process also there. This process will also be there. Now what you need to do is just like how you create a process, you just need to select the package from there, create your process, and then you can run the process. So when you run the process, it executes just like how you see a job within your orchestrator. Okay. So this is what happens. Okay. So Sneha, can you please start this particular job? Yep. Yep. So now you can actually observe the Mastro is running. Okay. So we'll just see that. So you can see that this part of the process is getting executed, then the next part of the process is getting executed. Okay. So and you can see that there is a loading icon. So imagine a ticket has been raised and the person will be working on the ticket after a few hours. So whenever you open this Maestro, you can still see that this part of the process is still pending, or someone is in working on this particular process. As soon as that person completes the process, the agent gets the response, and immediately the next part of the flowchart starts executing. So this is how you can actually observe, like, what is the status of my entire flowchart or my workflow. Where is it stopped? What is going on, or is someone working on that? So all these details is what you can now observe within your Maestro. So this is what actually happens within the Maestro. So here you can plug and play different UiPath components, and all these products or all these components can work together to complete an entire business process. It's not just only one part of the repetitive task or something, it's the entire process that this Maestro can do it. So this is what Maestro is capable of doing. So I'll just pause here, and if anyone has any question, I'll try to answer it.
I don't see any. How long? Okay, there's one question from SMB Kunal. How long
Hmm.
time hold the process during some one working on that escalation? So how long does the process wait while someone is
Huh, the
resolving the
process the
escalation?
process will the process will wait as long as the agent is not getting the response. So it's a long running workflow. So it can wait as long as the ticket is just like your action center. So unless
Right.
your ticket is resolved, the process will still be here.
And
Okay.
again, to add here, Parth, it is again our architecture, right? We use the action center, right? And then when we create a task for the business user, bot doesn't stop there, right? Bot continues processing the next step, right? And
Yep.
when the response from the user comes from the action center, right? Bot just starts from there processing that particular response, right? So
That is
it is
correct.
totally with your architecture, how you want to develop it. We have those activities, right, where it creates the task and it keeps it in the suspended mode where it is continuous with the further transactions, right? So
Right.
that
Right.
resume and wait activities, right? So it
Right.
totally depends on your architecture of the bot. So if
That
you
is
want
correct.
to wait, right, until the response is received, you can have it like that, or you can design like, let that response come whenever business user is available. Bot will
Hmm.
continue processing the next transactions.
Yeah. So I hope SMB that answers your question. Siddesh, also we have other question. Can you answer that? Okay. Let me check. Can we
Can we con-
continuously update process in Mestro from Zoeb?
What do you mean by continuously updating the process in Mastro? It is Mastro contains your RPA workflow and the agent, right? And we have those connections. So if you are updating your RPA process, it will reflect in Mastro as well.
Right.
Yeah, so I think Siddesh, like what he's trying to ask is like, can we update? If I'm not wrong, Zoeb, if he's asking like whether we can update the flow chart or the flow design. Yes. So if the business user comes and they come up with another scenario, say you're running your process, and once you run your process, obviously you are going to get some scenario which has not been handled in the first case. So in that, so it's just like a new requirement coming to you. And if the business thinks that okay, we may have another different branch which needs to handle this part of the workflow and then go back here, so yes, you can go ahead. It's a flow chart, so you can anyway redesign your flow chart to do your connections. And then if you need additional UiPath components to be created, like an agent or a process or something else, then you can include that particular product as well there within your flowchart, and then your entire process gets re-updated, and then you can reuse it in whichever way you want. Then we can do that.
Right.
So
There is
one more
next
question.
question. Yeah. Yeah, Siddesh, go
Good,
ahead.
good. Yeah, okay. I'll take it. So Ismail is saying, if I have 100 invoices, right, then how the master will be built to, agent to understand the document. So it is, Ismail, you think, without Mestro and normal RPA traditional flow as well, and then consider the Mestro as well. Like you can have your agent who can assess the document, okay, as per the prompts that document contains certain thing. Classification of the documents can be done through the agent, and then you can pass to the bot, which will use the document understanding feature to extract the data. Okay, so that is the one way you can use it, this Mastro, having agent and the bot communication. And then you can loop human as well. If there are certain accuracy related questions, or certain business rules are there, those are not matching for those documents, invoices, then have that human in loop as well. Hope I answer your question, Ismail.
Next question is from Newton. So if the process is suspended, right, how does the consumption of AI units go? I think if the process is paused, right, no AI units will be consumed. And for the
Hmm.
Mestro process, I believe there is another way of consumption of AI units that UiPath team is bringing in. I think it is instance based or something like that. So maybe Nutan, you might have to check the licensing
Yes.
details about it on partner
It will
portal.
be, yeah, it will be
Yeah,
very difficult to tell you about the AI unit consumptions.
right,
UiPath itself, they are working on a dashboard, AI unit consumption dashboard. So that
correct,
is in public preview, I guess. So once that is available, we can see our consumptions. How the consumptions are happening for the AI units.
right, right. And next question is from Milind. Can we use connector in Mestro or only agents and bots deployed? You can use anything that you want in the, if it is published in UiPath Orchestrator, you can use it over here.
Hmm. Yes.
Next question is from
And
Sunil. Yeah, sorry, Kunal, you wanted to add something?
no, no. Yeah, yeah. No. So whenever you create a task, so in the flow chart, you'll see there is an activity called as task. So when you select the task, there are multiple things that, as Parth was saying, you can do that. It can be an UiPath apps. It can be directly linked to an action center. It can be a connector, or it can be anything. Like whatever you want, you can add it. So there are many options available there. I think close to 8 to 9 options are available there. So you can just select whichever product you want to add it there, and your Maestro can work with that particular UiPath product.
That is correct. And next question is from Sunil. Can we export this into something, the flowchart that you created, Kunal, in Mestro?
Mhm.
Can we export it somewhere like as something?
Actually, yes. So I'll just share back
Yeah.
my screen.
Okay.
As of now, in the BPMN thing, you have the facility to import and export. Okay, so you can import and export your thing there. But believe so. See, this is the canvas. The bpmn.uipa.com is the canvas. So here you have the option to import any kind of a BPMN file. Say your client sends you any kind of a BPMN file. So you can directly import it and start building your thing. Okay, so that is one thing. And also you can download this particular thing. Now, as coming back to Maestro. So Maestro at this point has the property to import flowcharts, but it has to be of a particular extension type. You cannot directly in, import a BPMN file there. But I think you'll have to convert this particular BPMN file to, I think it is called as .uis or something. So to that particular extension, and once it is converted, that file can be directly imported there. So you don't have to redesign your flowchart once again, and then you can just plug and play. So we do have that feature within the Maestro and here as well.
Yeah. With that, we have more two questions. I will. Okay. I think Siddesh is already answering it, but then, yeah. Let me take this first, Kunal, and then we can go to
Hmm.
the other one.
Yeah. Hmm.
What are the architectural considerations or best practices for scaling UiPath agents? Siddesh, do you want to take that?
Even I'm thinking about this question: architectural consideration or best practices for scaling UiPath agents.
Right. See, one thing what would be there, right? As Sneha showed during the presentation, your evaluation set is really important. Okay. So with time, if you see that the outputs are changing or you are not getting the desired outcomes, maybe tweaking the system prompt or doing the prompt engineering of that to get the desired output results, adding context to it if possible. So that can be one of the best practices that you can follow. For example, as she added the history of the ticket raised, maybe she added of 24, but it is 2026 now. So you can update your context with the tickets of 2025, something like that. So that will be depending on what type of agent that you are creating
Yes.
and what are the functionalities expected from that agent.
Yeah, even my opinion, Varun, is that it is totally depend on your use case and the volume that it will handle, right? Based on that, you can take the call. How you want to scale your UiPath agents, the best practices that you want
Right,
to follow. Other than that, common best practices that everyone knows, right? That generally we ask in the interview, or we get it from the interview, that what are the best development practices that you follow.
right,
Architectural consideration is totally depend on your use case, the volume, frequency. Those are the things that you need to consider. There are certain parameters that you need to think about it, and then you need to take the call what architecture you can design.
hmm, okay. Yeah, I hope Varun that answers your question to some extent, because this is also something new and evolving practice for all of us, right? So it will completely depend on that. One question, Siddesh, that you had already answered in chat, but I think we can take it in the call as well. What are possible triggers for a Mestro process, like schedule on email, API call? And as Siddesh answered, it can be same as any RPA bot. So I hope Pritesh that answers your question. Next is from Ismail. Again, Siddesh, you have answered it, but yeah, Konal, since you are sharing the screen, we can take that.
Yeah.
What will be the maximum token limit agent can handle per each prompt? And it is 4096 for now, but the
Yeah.
custom agents and the coded agents, which features are coming in currently in private preview, but soon to be public preview as well. I think there you might have an option to maximize that or maximize that, obviously, because minimize you can do currently as well. Maximize is not an option. So I think it will be that. Yeah, I hope Ismail, Pritesh, and yeah, Varun already replied. That answers your question. Anyone else having any questions? Or okay, can UiPath agents be shared with end users in chatbot version, or only unattended agents can be built? Siddesh, anything that you want to add on that one?
I'm trying to understand. Can UiPath agents be shared with end users in chatbot version? No, no, Kaushal. If you're thinking about chatbot version, then no.
And with that, if you want that to happen, right, UiPath Assistant is something that can handle it. So you can have that end users using UiPath Assistant. If you are deploying organizational wide agents, they can be added to your autopilot and they can be available in UiPath Assistant. That is something that you can definitely do, caution.
So your autopilot can work with the context, right? That Sneha showed
Right,
us. We added some ServiceNow ticket-related context. So autopilot can work with that context and get you the information. Autopilot can run the bot. That bot is having RPA workflow, that is having agent inside it. So that is possible. That is doable.
right, right,
And talking about unattended agents, yeah, these are going to be unattended only, right? The agents are going to make the decision for you. So everything will be unattended. You can monitor observe the behavior, and you can take the call then further what you want to improve or anything is missing. You can
right.
take the call.
Yeah. And before we answer any other questions, right, one thing that I want to add, UiPath Academy has also published their courses on agentic automation. It is about introduction to agentic agent builder, Maestro, how you can build processes and everything. If you are in sales, pre-sales of your company, right? How do you sell it to customers? I think something that Siddesh would want to complete the course on. So I would highly recommend that you complete that courses, because that will give you a clear idea of what are the things supported, what are the things that can be done. So in that way, you will be able to understand that. Shweta is a question how to move agents to prod environment. So Shweta, it will like how you normally publish your processes, right? It is almost similar, but here it will be as a part of a solution. So here they won't get published as an individual processes or individual agents. Here it is a complete package of solutions that maybe if you just check out UiPath solution management, right, on docs.uipath.com or on Academy, you will understand end-to-end deployment of how solution packages are working. So I hope that answers your question, Shweta, and also caution.
So Shweta, we can take this question again. When Sneha can share her screen and she can show how the agents are deployed, and then you can have it in your production environment, production tenant. That is doable. It is same as the RPA bot that we deploy.
Yeah. So like as I have shown before, so we have this option which is called publish. So we can publish it, and once you publish it, you can see that in your folder packages. So see, this is the agent that we have published, and then you can create a process, and you can run that process from here, and then like agent and this process we can run from here. And as I also shown you that you can call this agent from UiPath Studio. So I'll open that process as well once more.
Yes, Purnima, the version control will same as traditional approach. There is no difference in that.
So here you can see, like as I've shown you, that this is the run agent activity that you can use. You can call your agent here. You can then publish this, bot process, and you can then schedule it as per your requirement. So there is two ways. One is directly like running the agent from the orchestrator, providing the input and all. But like standard, the process that we have is that we should do it through Mastro or through this UiPath bot. Like you can call it run agent activity, and then you can publish it.
So anything, Kunal, that we have to continue with Mastro?
No, Siddesh, I'm good with Maestro.
We cover everything, right?
Yep.
Yes, so the forum is open for question and answer then. Sneha, can you put your prompts here in the chat window?
Sure, Sudesh.
Here for your question, agent is not continuously monitoring. It is how you want this agent to work, right? You can schedule your agent, right, or Mestro, and that can keep on monitoring. If there is any input that is there, that agent need to process, so agent can do that. I hope that answers your question. There is no as such provision that it will continuously keep on looking for the input. No, it is not like that.
Right. And with respect to recording, Nuthan, I think it should be available in next 24 hours on the same page where you registered for the event. So you will get it over there. I'll make sure it is there in next 24 hours. Yeah, because the
And
session was too long.
sorry, Pat. And Siddesh, related to the prompt, I'm not able to paste it here because it's like the number of characters
Right.
is additional.
What we can do is, Sneha, you can share it to me. I'll
Okay.
just put it on a GitHub repo and I'll put the link. So the recording which will be there, right? It will be a YouTube recording. In the description, you will find the GitHub link where you can get the access to the prompt which is there. So I'll do that.
Thank you, Pat.
Any other question, guys, that you have it? If not, we can give back you your 24 minutes because the session was planned for 2 hours, but then considering the Q&A, we were able to cover it. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And if anyone wants to unmute themselves and ask any question, please let me know in the chat. I can definitely do that. And yeah, if you want to unmute yourself, just put a hi in the chat. I can do that. Okay. Siddesh, Sneha, and Kunal, I think there are some lovely comments for you in the chat. So yeah,
And
thank you
guys,
so much.
feel free. I would like to even suggest that feel free to connect with us if you have any use case for your agentic AI. Do connect
Uh,
with us, and we can also
right.
help you.
Let's do one thing. Siddesh and Tim, can you guys share your LinkedIn profile URLs in the chat? I will send mine, and in the meantime, if you guys can share yours as well, guys, feel free to
Yeah,
connect
sure.
with us. And not just this, right? If you want to be a speaker for any UiPath session, like how Siddesh, Neha, and Kunal are presenting, but you have to come up with a topic. here Siddesh comes up with a very interesting topic every month, and he does the presentation over here. So if you guys have any topic that you think you can present, feel free to reach out to me and or Siddesh as well for that matter, and we'll be happy to host your session in UiPath Mumbai community chapter.
So just now that we have these folks, I just would like to tell them that we actually did the agentic AI implementation for one of our client. It was a POC, but yeah, it was very successful. The results were great. The client is happy, and now the discussions are going on, to make it, in a production. So if you have any use case, anything that in your mind, yeah, we can connect, in the background, and we can discuss, and we can get you the results as well. That will be learning for us as well with this agentic AI.
Awesome. Yep, definitely. And we will definitely be having more sessions. Let me share the URL of the other sessions that are doing. One we are doing on cloud APIs. It is not agentic, but yeah, it is cloud APIs. So just posted the link of that. You can RSVP for that. The speaker of that session was also on the call right now is Akash. So we will see him again in that session as well. And one more is autopilot that is happening on June 3. I've shared the URLs of both the chapter. You can join the Mumbai chapter so that you stay updated to all the future updates that are coming in. So yeah, okay. I don't see any questions, but yeah, some amazing comments only. So yeah, thank you, Siddesh, Sneha, and is
Thank you.
agentic automation when using?
Yeah, go ahead, Parth. You can read.
Yeah. So Kushal Chaudhary has a question in agentic automation when using a standard RPA process as a tool. Is it possible to utilize its output if the return type is I local resource? I think that variable type is not supported yet, but maybe in future we might have some updates on that. But Kushal, for now, I don't think there is a direct variable type available for that type of category.
I'm not sure what kind of output is this iLocal resource.
It is I think the file with respect to files it is I believe, but no, Kushal, it is not directly supported as of now. We can maybe check in future if there are any updates on that. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Ashutosh. Thank you, Akash. Okay, team. I think we are good. Thank you so much again, guys. And yes, we will see you back again in some interesting sessions on Mumbai chapter. And yeah, thank you everyone for being so much engaging during the session. That is what makes the session successful because presenters are always looking forward that you ask interesting questions, you ask doubt, and you only ask that when I believe you are understanding the things during the session. So I think Siddesh, that was a good work from your team and you. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thank you guys. See you all in the next session.
Thank you,
Thank you
everyone.
Thank
everyone.
you. Thank you, everyone.